From the second day, Lefiya began teaching formally. Even so, he won't go to the Labyrinth City right away. Even if you want to guide students who want to become adventurers, let's go to the dungeon, is really a bit thoughtless. Instead of guiding Luke and the others, Lefiya is more responsible for protecting their lives. There should be no accidents. Even from a safety perspective, rushing into a monster's lair without confirming its strength is absurd. 2 days later, the school district will officially allow all students in the school to practice in the dungeon. When that day comes, it will be good to move on. So, the first thing to do is start training the squad in the school zone. As expected, Nano is a rearguard mage, Marilia is an archer who also acts as a central defender, Cole who uses a dagger is a scout, and Luke is a crushing vanguard. Here is a drill built in one corner of the field of the academy. This white diamond arena will also be used for class competitions. Lefiya sat in the auditorium and watched the 7th team's movements. What is happening is not a lecture on combat techniques, but a simulated battle between teams. Baderban and Valban's teams are taking turns fighting in the center or corner of the field. Among them, the 7th Squadron was extremely active. Luke stormed into the enemy line with a blunted longsword, and after a slap, Marilia, Cole, and Nano began to devastate. First they were attacked by level 3, then there were waves of attacks. The opposing team must have been very uncomfortable. Cole, stay back. Block the beam. Marilia 2 attack tactics. Nano, you give the signal with magic. Despite being at the forefront, Luke was still giving instructions, and his skill was certainly very good. The field of vision is also very wide, and the sharp sword skills shine among the students. I thought the team would tend to rely on their breakthrough ability, but at the same time, they also have the magic of Nano, which is a super tower. After all, they often train together and exist as old enemies. Therefore, the opposing teams seem to have prepared many countermeasures, but they still cannot stop them. In an instant, the opponent's camp was destroyed. Luke and Nano deserve to be LV3. However, Marilia and Cole, the support that connects is also wonderful. Thanks to these two, the team won't be vulnerable. Well, they really trust each other. What a team! This is the contemporary elite force. Instead of spreading them out randomly and putting them in the exploration type, it's better to use them in a group of 4, which should lead to better results. Considering this, Lefiya instantly became depressed. She really wanted to say to herself, what qualifications do you have to analyze so superiorly? In the Loki Familia, he just hit the backbone. His self-loathing was unbearable, and Lefiya really wanted to get out of here. The school district, here Loki complained a few words. At the same time, she also realized that as the teaching side, she also had to change her own consciousness. It's really not easy being a mentor. She realized it again and stood up from the auditorium at the end of the training. Faced with people from the teaching position, the first thing the teaching position should do is communicate to build a good relationship. Sister Lefiya, how am I doing? I get very nervous when I think about Senpai looking at me, but thanks to Luke and the others, I still performed at a normal level. And everyone also unanimously decided to leave some high-ranking, 1,000 elves, astonished. Like a little girl, she chattered endlessly about what should be said and what shouldn't be said, and after knowing that she was very proud in their eyes, Lefiya was still very shocked. She is trotting and jumping, expressing her emotions with her whole body. This posture can't help but make people smile. It seems she is also loved by women outside the team. According to them, it seems that this child is like a younger sister. At first I didn't really like the way she spoke, but she's too stupid. If we don't take care of her, something big will happen. She's the same age as Luke, i.e. older than Lefiya, but there can't be anyone who fits the description of schoolgirl better than her. She seems to come from the same place as Luke. They grew up together and then came here with him, who aspires to be a student in the school district. And she hides it from her parents. Judging by her surname, she should be of noble origin, but she looks quite mischievous in person. And having a crush on Luke, well, you can say without asking. After all, she suddenly said this to herself and often looked at the boy. Although Luke is very trustworthy, once he makes up his mind, he doesn't worry about other things, so we are the ones who correct the clue every time. After all, Nano's mind is empty. Marilia and Cole are elf and demi-human with excellent observation skills. Marilia didn't have the unapproachable attitude that is unique to elves, probably because she was picked up by other girls in the collective school district life. Cole is such an outspoken boy that he wonders if he really is a werewolf like Bet. And in this sexually charged team member, he should be in the position of the miserable man. Lefiya realized this fact with a sad face. In short, these two are the coordinators of the team. Big sister, don't just watch, how about showing your magic? People who don't have strength can't make others obey. Luke was still very blunt. He also smiled when facing Nano and the others, but as soon as Lefiya appeared, his attitude became very harsh. Every time Marilia reminded her, Nano and the others seemed a little uneasy. And when Lefiya released magic in the corner of the training field, Nano and Marilia became even more attached. Please teach us magic. Lefiya was a little lost, but remembering that she had behaved the same way when facing Riveria, she couldn't help but show a wry smile and explained a little. As a result, in addition to Nano and Marilia, many people also attended the class, and the situation became difficult to deal with for a while. Seeing this scene, Luke looked very upset. Speaking of which, not only the 7th squad, but the other students also feel a terrifying aura. In the room designated for the school zone, Lefiya was like a real, trainee teacher. The pen danced over the parchment, separating the information. The appearance of level 3 students is a good example. There is no doubt that it is bigger than before. School district is a place for academics and research. Ascension is natural and should be welcomed, but I always feel like it's more than that. Lefiya thought so. After all, the school district has already traveled the world, so they have a lot of experience. It can be said that they are very mature as warriors. So, as adventurer, what can I teach them are? Lefiya recalled Leon's words, and at the same time updated her personal skills, the team's interpersonal relationship, etc., and finally determined the attitude she should show to Luke and the others. Then, 2 days passed quickly and it was time to get real. Special dungeon practice is one of the educational programs of the school district. This course will only be offered in the year of return to the Labyrinth City, and candidates will be able to enter and leave the floors according to their abilities. Graduating from the school district requires credits, and to get credits, you must bring back the dropped items of the designated monsters. At the same time, the student is also required to submit a report, so if he tries to play pranks and does not seriously explore the dungeon, he will almost certainly be exposed. This is also mandatory training for those who wish to become combat professionals. Everyone is here. So let's go to Oratory now. After confirming that the 7th squad had gathered, Lefiya left Marin City Harbor. Then, she hands over the pass to the school district and passes through the southwest gate under the huge wall of Oratory. Nano and the others were excited about the Labyrinth City they hadn't seen in 3 years. At the same time, they easily avoided the adventurers who provoked them and wanted to play pranks on the well-behaved students. After finishing the guild procedures, they entered the dungeon. The 7th Squadron was truly excellent and successfully reached the middle level. I'm practicing on the 15th floor today. After encountering monsters several times, Lefiya stopped in the open corridor and said back. Everyone in the 7th squad wears different equipment on top of the school-issued combat uniform. Nano is a hooded cloak and staff. Millie is a one-sided breastplate and long arch covering her right breast. Cole carried 2 short swords and protective goggles. Luke was dressed lightly, a battle suit and a long sword that he had modified. After placing the weapon, Nano and the others were instantly reticent. Of course, no matter before or now, the atmosphere of the dungeon is unique. Even the school district students who have seen the secrets, impermanence, and unexplored areas throughout the world cannot hide their nervousness. Nano looked worried, turning her face from time to time to look around, fearing that monsters would appear on a wall at any moment, while Millie and Cole just rolled their eyes and carefully observed their surroundings. As soon as the 7th squad tensed like this, "Senior, let's go to the 25th floor." Only Luke was different.